Hello. Um, Whew, sorry, I've got allergies really bad right now. We're gonna finish up and then summer ended, and then we'll finally be on to the next part of this game. And I realize as I'm playing it, I've bitten off more than I can chew. I didn't realize how long this is actually going to be, but that's okay. We're just gonna get through this part, and then we'll be officially done with childhood, and then we'll go from there. Apologies in advance if I keep sneezing, like I can't stop those. Like I said, allergies. Let's see. I'll never get tired of that view. You stood beside your moms, Lizzie and Cove, as the five of you watched the sun dip into the ocean somewhere far, far away. You like to imagine it cooling off in the water, resting itself before getting ready to shine brightly again tomorrow. This is such a little kid mood, and I can't be mad about it. That was a fun day. I didn't know they had magicians on the shopping street now. Neither did I. Oh, we are so dull. Oh no, we are so dull. Let's get out more. He didn't do real magic, Mom. Lizzie, please. I know you are my sister, but I want to smack the silly shit out of you. How did you figure that one out? 'Cause I know. That's not what real magic looks like. Oh, Lizzie dear, there's all kinds of magic in the world. Thanks, Mommy! Lizzie gave Mommy a suspicious look, but didn't dispute that claim. You looked over at Cove, who hadn't said a word since you started home. He didn't look upset, though, just content. You're aware he still hadn't quite warmed up to your parents. Well, we can't sit out here all night. Time to hurry home and get cooking. Who's helping with dinner? Lizzie immediately let out a groan. Mom, summer's almost over. The protest was obvious. You could practically see school on the horizon. You certainly didn't want to spend your last bits of freedom cooking dinner. You could do that any other day. Please, can we just play a little longer? We have to keep playing before it's too late. It is almost over. You put on your best puppy dog eyes. Lizzie may not want to, but you planned on going home. I know I'm a homebody, but I want my digital avatar to be, sneeze incoming. No? Yes. No? Puppy dog eyes. Oh, don't look at me like that. Like what? Soon we'll have homework and reading to do. We can't do work now, too. Lizzie made her case and then stomped her foot into the ground. Yeah, Lizzie might be like 10 or 11, but it's still a little kid move. Stomp the foot. You mimicked her, feeling that would add something to the argument. It doesn't. Well. No. Oh, come on, Pam. I can help you with dinner. Mommy leaned in for a hug, and you knew that you were very close to victory.
Okay.
Alright. But as soon as dinner's ready, you lot are coming inside, understand? Yes, Mom. Cove, dear, you're welcome to join us as well. Yeah. Cove gave a non-committal shrug to your mommy, which you took as an agreement. I love these kinds of kids that are just so aloof, because they either turn out to be, like, the most outrageously touchy-feely people, or they really double down into their broodiness. Also, this is a very creepy smile. So much to do, so little time. Maybe I could still get the seashell bracelet at Tina's and Trinkets. Ooh, or maybe the playground, or the fireflies will probably be coming out, right? Don't I get a say in this? You silently laid your own plans. We can't go too far. I'm going home. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna go do my own shit. Lizzie had her own ideas of what she wanted to do, but what were you going to do? You glanced over to Cove, considering. A strong gust of wind made you shiver. Lizzie huffed as she wrapped her arms around herself. Doesn't the wind know that summer's not over yet? That's all Lizzie said before abruptly turning on her heel and heading off in the direction your mothers had gone. Where are you going? I'm going to my room. I have lots to plan if I want to make the most of tomorrow. You thought this over, looking off towards the water again. Lizzie didn't wait, and before long, she was disappearing off down the road. Meanwhile, Cove was going in the opposite direction, heading for the beach. Let's stay with Cove, because I don't want to listen to her talk. Cove gave you a smile that you couldn't help but return. He made a little gesture that you interpreted as, follow me, and then he started heading to the waves. Cove knelt down, picking up something you quickly identified as a smooth rock. He rolled his arm back, then tossed it into the water. You were impressed how far he got it to go. It sailed way out into the sea. It was a good toss. That was pretty neat. That wasn't a long throw, but he really didn't care for that. The rock sunk kind of like a rock and fell back almost right after he tossed it. It was a good toss. You could skip rocks in the ocean? Oh, you can't skip rocks in the ocean. What are you doing? I'm gonna just look for my own rock. Deciding to join Cove, you searched nearby for any rocks or shells that you could throw to. You found a shell that would suit your purpose, a smile growing as you tossed it as hard as you could. It landed with a wet-sounding thunk a few feet away and slipped down into the water. When you looked over at Cove, he didn't seem to notice that his throw had been more impressive. Cove was looking down at his cast, scratching idly at the pink surface even though you were pretty sure he couldn't feel it. His brows were furrowed and there was a frown on his face. It's not fair. I've had to wear this cast for ages. I can't even swim. When do you get it off? Cove shrugged and didn't say anything. As somebody who did have a cast, I think I kept mine on for 6 to 8 weeks. So realistically, this is summer. Summer is what, a 3-month vacation. So he probably is going to be getting it off right when he gets back. For a second you thought maybe he didn't know, but finally he sighed. A few weeks. Oh, so I was right. That's not very long at all. Are you excited? Cove gave another half-hearted shrug. I would be. You'll have so much more fun at recess. Cove let out a huff, plopping down into the sand. I can't believe summer's almost over. You sat down next to him and nodded in agreement, regardless of the sudden topic change. I don't want to go to school. I mean, I would. I don't want to go to a new school. I think it'll be the same school as you and Lizzie. My dad said something about that. Cool. You're going to like it. Everyone's super nice. You'd only ever been to the one school, but you were sure that his old school couldn't have been that much better. And then again, he did have to make new friends and meet new teachers. It would be kind of scary. Cove shook his head, then wrapped his good arm around his knees as he drew them to his chest. You heard a sniffling sound, and then when you took a good look at his face, you realized that his eyes were wet. My dude, you're making me want to cry, and as somebody who is besieged with allergies at this moment in time, I don't want to cry. Like, my nose will be even more stuffy. I want to go home. You never had to move before, but you thought you could understand. If you had to go to a new school all of a sudden with new people, you'd probably be dreading it too. Even though you sort of maybe understood, you still weren't sure how to help. Okay, I'll see you later. Cove gave his head a small shake. No, I want to go back home. Right, Cove wanted to go back to his old home. The one that sat waiting someplace far from here. The one he would bring up whenever he felt this sad. It had been a while since he had moved in, but he didn't seem to feel any better about being here. You settled back down into the sand trying to consider what to do. Do you hate it here? This can be your home. It'll be alright. No, this could be your home, my dat guy. It's a really nice home if you give it a chance. Cove didn't respond to that. He just tightened his arm around his knees, resting his chin on them. Cove, your broody anime boy stuff is cute, but you're not going to leave, right? You'll still be around? The question was a little surprising. Of course. I don't think we're planning on moving soon. Your parents would have mentioned if you were going to move or something, right? After a second, Cove gave a little nod. Once I get my cast off, we could go swimming. You were fine with him changing the subject again. It'll be too cold by then. You smiled, so he'd know you were only kidding. Cove smiled and looked back at the waves. My dad keeps saying I'll get used to everything eventually, that I'd feel better then. It used to make me angry. I didn't want to get used to everything. You spared a glance over at Cove and saw the anger had slipped off his face and Baby or something almost puzzled. But maybe that would be okay after all, as long as I really do feel better. I can't see it. You could remember a long time ago when you'd first started going to school. You had absolutely not been okay with the idea of being far away from your parents for most of the day, to listen to strangers tell you what to do, and sit with kids you'd never met before. This is actually such a weird... Okay. Tangent. This is such a weird game is because it's not poorly written. Actually, it's really well written so far from what I've played so far. And the fact that it is outright just keeping in line with what little kids feel is really impressive. So that's really neat. Like, I'm curious to see how far the rest of this game is gonna go. Things changing is hard. You held his hand. I can. I'll make sure you do. I feel like silently saying I'm gonna be here is better. Sometimes words muddle things. You're not quite sure what to say to that, so instead you reached out and take hold of Cove's hand. The one closest to you is the one in his cast, so you made sure you were very gentle. As you watched, Cove's eyes got a little misty once more. You got the feeling that they were different tears from the ones from before, though. I hope next summer I'll surf and go exploring and everything will feel like it's supposed to again. You gave Cove a big smile. I hope so too. The two of you sat quietly, just taking in the sounds of the waves. You hoped that Cove would be able to accept this place as his new home. You definitely try to help in what ways you could. There were so many wonderful things here Cove probably hadn't even seen yet. I'm gonna pause this really fast. I am, dying. I need a tissue. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. You hoped that Cove would be able to accept this place as his new home. You definitely tried to help in any ways that you could. There were so many wonderful things here Cove probably hadn't seen yet. Ugh. Lost in thought, you started a bit when you heard a faint familiar sound. The sound of your mom shouting your name. You looked over your shoulder, realizing it was probably time for dinner. Time really had gone by fast. You stood and dusted up the sand off yourself. My mom's calling, it's time for dinner. You should come. Cove looked up at you, expression screaming reluctance, yet ultimately, okay. When you smiled, Cove returned with one of his own. Thanks. It was nice. You were right then. The two of you couldn't stay there in your own little world any longer. You were being called forward. So the both of you ran off towards your house, leaving the waves and summer behind. Aw, what a cute animation. Oh my god, that's such... in between. Oh no, more reading. Oh. I mean, they don't have any cool birthmarks, so I don't want any. Acne. Ah, are we finally at that point in our life? Pants, shirts, blah blah blah, watches, hats, still not. Braces? I did have braces as a kid. I was a brace kid. Sorry, I know that probably shatters the illusion, but I did have braces. Done. Comfort is direct, interest... I mean, I guess we can move on to the next stage? Wait. Am I just not naturally gonna... Oh, wait, no, I did, because I was indifferent and we've moved to fond. Okay. Yeah. No, we're at fond. Because I remember I clicked indifferent. Did I click indifferent? I don't remember. You know, we're just gonna click a fond, because I feel like we've moved on to, friendship level. Let's go! Actually, no. Let's not go. You won't be able to change it again until step 3. Yes? Customize Cove. Oh, really? Appearance. Oh my god. Do I make him not with glasses? No, I liked him with glasses. That doesn't just magically change. How much anime boy hair do I want to give him? I like this one. Let's see. Shirt. I only have 2 choices? Alright, I guess we can go with tank top. Nope, that's fine. Really? I have more choice in pants. Jesus Christ. August ended, September began. It was time to go back to school. Oh. Lizzie groaned and complained the entire first week. She hated going to classes. Still, there were interesting things to do that couldn't be done anywhere else. You weren't sure how Cove felt about it. He was enrolled that year. That was like a sign Cove would be staying in Sunset Bird for a while. At school, he was alright, but kept his distance from the other kids, from what you saw anyway. Whenever he could, Cove stuck to you like glue. He didn't even mind that much what you did to pass the time, as long as it was together. That year, the divorce of Cove's parents was finalized. You overheard your parents talking about it, saying Cove's dad got full custody. Ooh! For the record, it doesn't look good when dad gets full custody of the kids, because let me rephrase that. Most courts tend to go for 50-50 splits of kids. Unless mom really wants full custody, they normally award mother's full custody. But the fact that dad got full custody says maybe mom wasn't doing such a good job. Again, this is me speculating. Maybe we'll learn more. But, good on Cove's dad. Even though he's kind of like, sir, please stop shoving money at your child. It doesn't fix everything. At first, you worried that meant bad news. It had made Mr. Holden cry, apparently. Then you found out it meant Cove would keep living with his dad. He would only stay with his mom a few weeks of the year. Oh, okay, never mind. I retract my previous statement. Cove cried too, for different reasons, you thought. It seemed like Cove and his dad might move again, but Mr. Holden decided to stay after all. Mom asked him about it once. He had said he didn't want to uproot Cove's life a second time. Mr. Holden tried to get Cove to like Sunset Bird more. He kept encouraging his son to go out and see the place. Sometimes Mr. Holden volunteered you to spend time with Cove. You cannot volunteer me to spend time with my friends. That was a natural occurrence I was going to get to all on my own. He seemed very confident that it was an effective strategy. Cove never talked to anyone about what happened with his parents and withdrew whenever it was brought up. It was hard for him, yet nobody knew how to help. Eventually, Cove stopped crying on his own. You couldn't understand what had changed. Still, you worried about him. You could tell he wasn't completely happy. Maybe one day he could say out loud what he felt inside. That's what therapy is for. After that, it felt like things had gone back to normal, except what was normal didn't stay the same. Years passed, and suddenly you were in middle school. You weren't a kid anymore. You were 13 years old. That officially made you a teen, even if your sister didn't agree. Considering she's only 2 years older, I don't want to hear about it. The toys and crayons that used to litter every free space in your room had been packed away somewhere, replaced by new hobbies. There were other changes, too. Cove's cast had gotten taken off. It was weird to see him without it initially. Underneath, the pink plaster ended up being a long, thin scar that snaked across his forearm. Cove's cheeks flushed with shy pride when someone drew attention to it. He also went through a major growth spurt. He was the tallest student in his class for 2 years in a row. Cove will probably hold that spot again next time. In class, people knew him for more than just being tall. He also stood out because of how well he did on tests and in other academic situations. Over the years, he became more quiet and reserved. You didn't usually see him talking to other people. Cove, please make more friends. And the only kid that came to visit the neighborhood when you were little, Shiloh, well, he was gone. He and his mom moved back south because of her work, just 1 year after Cove came to Sunset Bird. It had been really upsetting when he left. Lizzie was inconsolable for weeks, but nobody talked about Shiloh anymore. It was a long time ago. I feel like this is not going to be the case come next summer. You learn some heartbreaking things because less sad the further... I'm sorry, what the fuck is this sentence? Let me try again. You learned some heartbreaking things, became less sad the further away they were, even if they had never gotten any better. There we go. It was sad in its own way. Things at home were different too. You still lived in the same house and all that, but it wasn't how it was before. Ma dyed her hair purple, wanting something new, and liked it so much she kept dyeing it. Good for Mom. You remember calling her Mommy as a kid, but something like that seemed awkward nowadays. You were much too old for that word. You were never too old to call your mother Mommy. Just so we're clear. Lizzie felt too mature for her nickname too. She insisted on everyone calling her Elizabeth, so you did. Your mom soon gave her permission to go places other than the playground and shopping street, which she took advantage of. You rarely saw her around the old neighborhood. In fact, she hardly spent time with you the way she did before. Elizabeth instead associated more and more with girls from school who were her own age. Maybe the difference between 13 and 15 was greater than the difference between 8 and 10. Damn if that's not true, though. You started befriending new people yourself, like Derek Suarez. He didn't live in the neighborhood or go to the same school. What happened was his and Cove's dads S, plural, okay, struck up a business partnership a few months ago. Since then, Derek would pop up in the area now and then. It seemed like Mr. Suarez was happy to let Derek tag along to his work if Derek had the time for it. I feel like this is a typo unless I'm about to learn that Cove's dad got a boyfriend and married him. Without a doubt, everyone and everything around you had changed in small and big ways. You had too. As time went by, though, it was easy to settle into the new normal. Then, before you knew it, school was over and summer vacation had come again. Sweet. Okay, we're gonna end it here and go from there because we've officially moved out of childhood and into middle school adolescence. So, thank you guys so much for showing up. I really appreciate it. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.